Okay, so here we are. It's the morning of the exam, and today's the day you've got to produce an absolutely fantastic website. What I'm going to do now is just talk you through some final bits of good advice, some things to remember that hopefully will see you well through the exam. So let's have a look. First of all then, what have we got here? Well, here is an example of your question paper. This is one you've seen before from our mock exam on Fortunes from May 2014. Yours will look exactly the same. Okay, obviously it will read differently, but it will look the same. So if we scroll down, and first of all you are presented with the client brief. Okay, it's really important that you read this, and probably read it a couple of times because it's quite short. Okay, but reading this will help you get your head around who the website is for and what it's all about, what the purpose is. Okay, you can see in this brief here it talks about the radio station being aimed at the local community, but actually the website that you've been asked to make is to encourage school and college students to take part in the community radio station. So it's aimed at 11 to 18 year olds, and that's a very specific target audience. Later on, just down here where it says a lively colour scheme, okay, the examiner is looking to see whether or not you can connect up a lively colour scheme as being and aim it at 11 to 18 year olds, because that's the target audience of the website. So it's really important you find that information. The basis for the content and information of the website can be found in the assets folder, as always. So you read this a couple of times, you understand who it's aimed at, 11 to 18 year olds, school and college students, and you know the purpose is to encourage them to take part in the community radio station. Once you know the purpose and the target audience, you're good to go. As we scroll down, you then get to the overall site requirements. Now don't forget, because it was really important, okay, this says 5 pages, and here is a breakdown of what those pages should be structured like. So if you have a look at the bullet points, we've got 3 main bullet points here. So your navigation bar will have 3 links on it. These 2 pages, which take us to the 5, they are sub-pages of this one. So when I'm on the home page, there should be no way I can get to the lunch break program or the home time program page. It should not be possible. I should only be able to get there when I'm on the programs page. It's a key part of the test that you recognise that and that you do that in your exam. If today when you open it up all 5 bullet points are in the same line, then you've got a navigation bar with 5 pages. If you've got 4 and 1 sub-page, then you've got a navigation bar with 4 pages. Or look out for it, take note of it, and make sure that you build a website in the structure that's asked for. Next, it says the content must be visible without scrolling at a resolution of 1024 times 768. If you're not sure how to go about figuring that out today, don't worry about it. You'll see in a moment when you insert that table into Dreamweaver, you can set the width so you know that your website is the right width. And in terms of the depth of the website, here it says that all the content should be visible without scrolling. So as long as you build a website today where when it's viewed on screen there's no need to scroll at all, you're on the right path. Okay, next we've got this section here called the other requirements. I can't stress to you how important it is that you look at this and take a read through it before you start the exam, because it's in here that you'll be told to do certain things on certain pages, and you might as well do them whilst you're making the pages rather than make the pages and do them afterwards. So for example, where it mentions a flyer here, it asks you to put the image flyer from the images folder onto the home page. Now that's a really simple task. Nobody would get that wrong. But if you go and make a great home page and put your own pictures on, and then read this later on, or don't have enough time to read it and don't do that, you're going to lose out on some marks. And if you don't believe me, just take a look here. Here's the mark scheme, and on the images section it says flyer image included on the home page and legible on screen, 1 mark. You've lost 1 out of 50 marks, and you've lost one of the easiest ones. So make sure when you're going through your exam today, that you read the brief, check the requirements, and before you start building, it's really important that you check the other requirements down here. And maybe what you do is every time you start a new page, you just come down here, have a look through, see if there's any mention anywhere about something to do on a specific page, just so that you know you're not missing anything out. Another classic example here, to put this strapline on the volunteers page. Okay, you might even choose to highlight things like page names so that you don't have to keep reading every single word as you go along. It's really important that you check it though. Okay, so you know the brief, you look through it, you're ready to go. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go and have a look at your assets. If I go into my Fortunes Radio folder and open up the assets folder, you can see a word file called info. That word file that you're going to open up today will have mistakes in it. It will have grammatical errors in it. There will be missing full stops. There will be missing capital letters possibly. You might find that there's a list that, unlike this one here that's handily got bullet points on, all special, the one in your exam today will not. You will have to recognise where there's a list, and if you want them to be bullet pointed, you'll have to do it yourself. That little full stop just there, it's not going to be there in your exam. You're going to have to check this. And do you know what? If you're not confident, or you're not sure how to check it, or you think, do you know what, I might miss a missing capital letter, or I'm not sure that I'd recognise if a word was spelt wrong unless it's underlined in red, of course, then go up to review and spell and grammar check the file that you've been given, and this will help you out. Okay, it says there 2 programs has been spelt wrong potentially. In this case it hasn't, it just doesn't recognise that this is it's looking at it from American English. If I go down to the bottom here and change it to English UK, that mistake goes away. It's recognised there that mix might have a capital letter because it's the start of something, so we'll just change that. It'll do the same with local bands, the same with entertainment news. Here we're looking at programmes. For some reason we're back to English United States, so I'll just go back to English United Kingdom. That one's gone. Up at the top, same again. Okay, just flicking back to the UK version of our language, and slightly annoyingly I'm having to keep doing this with each bit that it checks. On something like this where it mentions passive voice, you can ignore that, and obviously we're missing a capital F just there. That's a quick run through just how to make sure the content of the word file is good. There are marks that you get for this content being good quality, so just take a moment and check it if you can. Remember, it's review and spell check, and if you get the annoying American English thing going on, remember all you have to do is just down at the bottom there, just make sure that it's selected United Kingdom, and then you'll get the correct spelling and not the wrong one. Okay, good. Okay, so sorry about that little switch over there. Now we're on to part 2. We're going to have a look at how you resize an image. Now the quickest and simplest way to do this is to do it on your on PowerPoint, on a PowerPoint slide. So I'm just going to take presenter 1, 924 KB. If I just whoopsie daisy, let's just resize that window and pop it there, get our presentation and pop it there, drag that across. Okay, so presenter 1, 924 KB. Resize the picture, do not crop, don't do anything else, just resize. Right click, save as picture, make sure it's set to PNG. Okay, make sure you're saving it in the same folder. Okay, so find the folder that you're working in today, go to the same place. Okay, now I'm going to click on presenter 1, but rather than overwrite it, just so that we can compare the different file sizes, I'm going to click presenter 1.1. If I pop back over here, you can see presenter 1 was 924, presenter 1.1 was 155 KB. So I've completely reduced the file size there with very little effort at all. I know my class that was a bit of a flop demonstration yesterday, but where I went wrong was I started to crop the image, and that was a mistake. Okay, so nice and simple. Keep it simple. Make sure that your files that you use are PNGs and nothing else. Okay, this BMP file here, same thing again. Okay, and it will work exactly the same. If we drag that across, job roles, pop it on here. Okay, do a little resize, right click, save as picture, PNG, not BMP, PNG. Make sure it's going to the same folder. It is now because I've already saved there, and this was called what was it called? Doesn't matter what it's called. We'll find out in a minute. I'll just call it test again for this demonstration. Saved it as a PNG. So it started off as job roles 364 KB and a BMP. It's now called test. It's a PNG and it's 116. So you can see it definitely works. Resize, right click, save as picture. Brilliant. Next we're just going to have a quick look at inserting a video onto our pages. So I've got a video that I just disposed of a moment ago that we'll bring back to my desktop just for this demonstration. Okay, so how do you do it then? Well, there's a couple of different ways and both work, but it depends. Okay, this is the way to do it today. Keep it very, very simple. Okay, if you've watched the revision videos, it talks about going to HTML and it talks about going to plugin, and that works, and it works fine, and you can do that. There's no problem. But if you accidentally click on video instead, I'm going to show you how to make it work. Okay, and actually you can go to HTML and HTML5 video and it's fine. Okay, so if you do this, what will happen is you'll get a small box that looks like nothing's happened, and in your properties bar you'll get lots of options. Okay, all you have to do is then go to source, go to the folder, the assets folder, find the video, and just put a little tick in the box that says autoplay, and you're done. It's as simple as that. Now the only problem is that the size of it might be a little bit big, so I'm going to put in a width and height of 250 as a starting point, and that's it. I'm done. Now if I want to preview my work at any point, I go to file and save. Don't press F12 because it won't work. Okay, just save your work and then pop back to your desktop, open up your folder and open up your file. Okay, you can see that the video is not there. Okay, the reason that it's not there is because HTML5 will not work in Internet Explorer. Okay, it will work in Microsoft Edge. So if I right click and open with and choose Microsoft Edge, you'll see that the video does in fact work. And everything's fine. So my top bit of advice for you, by the way, that's probably not big enough. If you put in a video on your website, I'd make it a little bit bigger, but not too much. Depends on the page and the layout and the other things, but you know, make sure you choose a better size than that. So if you're in your exam today and you are asked to insert a video, remember it's insert, it's HTML5 from the HTML section. Once you're in there, you just need to click the source option, find the video and click autoplay, and then resize it and you're done. Okay, when you're viewing your pages, if it doesn't work, if you're unsure if it's worked or it doesn't work, just flick over to live, and if it plays in live mode, and it might just take a moment to refresh, but if it plays in live mode, then you know it's okay and you can be confident that it's going to work for the examiner. And that's videos. Okay, finally, it's your responsibility to make this website accessible, and there are 2 or 3 really simple things that you can do in your exam to make your website accessible. I'm going to pop a little picture of some mountains in here just because I've got one handy, like you do, and then I'm just going to quickly talk about accessibility. So there are 2 really simple things that you can do that will get you plenty of marks to say that you've made an accessible website. Number 1, for every single picture on your website, without fail, every asset in fact, you know, every picture, you can do it for buttons, you can do it for the banner, you could do it for the video. Okay, you're going to go to window, you're going to go to properties, and where it says alt, you're going to type in a description of what the person's looking at. So mountain view, that's it, I've done it. My video, somewhere on there there'll be alt source 1, there we go, video of boy talking about, and then whatever the topic is discussing. Doing things like this make your website accessible to other people, and when they view it on the internet, if I just refresh that page, press F5, and they put the mouse over the image, the screen reader will read the text that appears, so they get a feel for what they're looking at. It just completely enhances your work entirely and makes it a lot better. The other thing that you've got to do is you've got to make sure that the contrast of colours works. so that it's easy to read. Putting red text on a black background is awful. The text is very difficult to read. It can almost look like it's strobing. You're going to lose marks. Whereas, really good contrasting colours, where you've got a dark background and a light text, or a dark text and a light background, that works really fantastically. Okay, and that shows that you're considering your audience, you're thinking about the people who are going to view it, and you're thinking about people who might be visually impaired. It's a nice, simple way of doing it, and it's going to make sure you pick up lots and lots of marks. And finally then, in part 3, just to conclude and to wrap it all up, the secrets of success today is keeping things very, very simple. When you get into your exam room, you'll have time to log on, open up the software, make sure that it all works, solve any problems, and be ready for the exam. When you begin, on your desktop will be one folder that's got the centre number, your candidate number, the first 2 initials of your surname, and the first initial of your first name. It's in there that you'll find all of the things that you need. You'll find a folder called assets, you'll find the evaluation, you'll find the info, and that's where you begin. Okay, some little top tips. Okay, we've talked about reading the client brief, it's really important. We've talked about the overall site requirements. Have a look down here. Okay, it's almost certainly going to ask you to use a page template, so make a page template, call it page template and save it as page template, and then every time you start a new page, open up page template, put some content on it and save it with the appropriate name, and then open up page template, put some content on it and save it with the appropriate name, and keep doing that. If you run into a problem in Dreamweaver, if something doesn't work or you're not sure about something, you can ask questions. So you can put your hand up and ask something, but the invigilator will only be able to help you with an exam query. There'll be a teacher in the room who can only help you with a technical problem. If nobody can help you if you're not sure how to do something, that bit you're on your own. Okay, but a typical problem you're going to encounter today is going to be something really simple. Okay, it's going to be something like, on that first page you've put the background colour on and you've inserted the table and the table doesn't display. Okay, you've seen hopefully the help video that shows you how to deal with that, but remember, there's always 2 or 3 things you can do every time something goes wrong to try and fix it. Number 1, if I go to insert table, for example, now, it's not going to work. I know it's not going to work instantly, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Just a quick reminder. Okay, so remember, you're checking what your exam paper says. This one says 1024, 6 rows, 6 columns enough. Click OK. Look at that, it has worked. Okay, let me make it so it doesn't work. Just so that we can solve that problem together dead quick before we go through. Okay, there we go, no table. I've done it, I've done everything, and you put your hand up, sir, miss, whatever, it's not working, well, no one's going to be able to help you with that. It's as simple as that. You're on your own. So what are you going to do? Well, what you're going to do whenever something goes wrong is not click randomly on things. You're going to click on edit and you're going to click on undo, and you're going to take your work back to the point where it was okay, and then you're going to try again. Okay, so have a look at where your cursor is flashing in the code down here. When you're inserting content, that table is the only time where it's not going to work, by the way, because from the rest of the time you'll be clicking on the table, so you'll be in the right bit of code anyway. But that first bit, the cursor's got to be right here next to the word body, or between the 2 bodies. As long as it's in one of those 2 places, your table will work. Okay, it's very, very simple, but it's frustrating when it doesn't work. Remember, if this is on live, you're going to have a lot of problems trying to merge these cells. It's not going to let you do it. Okay, you're going to highlight them, you're going to go right click, you're going to go, it doesn't work, I can't do it. You can switch it back to design. Do all of your design work in design. You can look at it in live, but you can't change it in live. Table, merge cells, there it is, it works. Okay. As you're working through the exam, every time you put a picture on and it works, every time you put a video on and it works, every time you have a bit of success, a bit of text, whatever it is, just go to file and save every single time. Okay, I'll just put a little bit of text in here. right, okay, yep, that's good, like it, go to file and save. Because if Dreamweaver crashes, if the computer shuts down, if there's a power cut, at least you don't lose your work. So every time you've done something and you're happy with it, file and save. And keep checking it throughout the exam, okay? You can't press F12, but you can go to the folder on your desktop, go to where it says homepage, never save it as Untitled 1, that's a bad example. Go to your homepage, go to your volunteers page, whatever it's called, and open it up, okay? And remember, you know, that's how you check it. Does it look good? Am I happy with it? Will the target audience like it? Is it doing its purpose? Yes, yes, yes. Great, move on. Okay, and remember, once you've inserted that video, Internet Explorer is not really going to help you out. Okay, what you can do is you can right click and go to open with Microsoft Edge instead. And if that doesn't work for you, because for some reason it's blocked, then you can always excuse me, you can always go and check it in Dreamweaver. So we'll let Microsoft Edge do its thing. Should look exactly the same as it did in Internet Explorer, by the way. It's just with Edge's more advanced ability to decode the code, it's able to play this video. Okay, everything's looking good, happy with it. But if Edge doesn't work, then all you've got to do is just pop yourself over to live and just check whether or not your video works and whether or not your page is coming together. And if it is, then you're all good. My final top tip is to not panic. Okay, we all want to get 25 plus marks, we all want to get 31, 36, 45, you know, to get the different grade boundaries. We all want to do that. Nobody wants to fail, and hopefully nobody will. But if you panic, or you stop working, or you think you can't do it and you give up, you're not going to get the marks you need. You're making a 5-page website. Keep it simple. If you're having problems or you're struggling, focus on what you can do and do that, and do it to the best of your ability, and have confidence that you'll at least get as many marks as you could have got on the day. I believe that you can all get fantastic marks. I'm certain that there are many people that can get grade C's, B's, A's and A stars in this if they apply themselves, if they read the exam paper, they do everything that they're asked to do. You've got this, guys. Good luck. Now just go and do a 2.5 hour exam, will you? Thanks very much.